to the Smart Nonsense Podcast, where we talk about smart nonsense. Audience goes wild because we're back 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row. I don't know how many, but it is a
Three,
hot
4 this
streak.
week. I think we missed one day.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Maybe.
First time we've done that in a while.
Something. Yeah, it's phenomenal. I'll take an 8 out of.
I got a kink in my back. That's all. Glad to be here though. You know, it's the best part of my day. Yeah.
Is that from your workouts, or how do you kink?
I was from golf. Got the kink from golf.
Oh, fuck, dude.
I have a fairly obsessive personality, and so when I get into something, it becomes all consuming. And I was golfing a lot, and I kinked my back because I don't have proper form. This is like no.
Never been coached a day in your life.
Never had it. No, hardly watched any videos. No, this is just me with a club trying to hit the ball as far as I possibly can and as straight as I possibly can.
Slugging, dude. Yeah. I mean, did you take advantage of having the captain of the golf team live with us senior year?
No,
not at all.
No, but I did FaceTime him, and he had me change my grip, and instead of slicing every shot, they did start going straight. So he's good at something. Yeah.
No, he's really good at that. That's the only time I've seen Binky. This is our friend. His name's actually Brian Hong. I've only seen him serious on the golf course. Like, it's phenomenal. He just it's something flips, and he's like a pro golfer all of a sudden. And he's like teaching me how to read greens. And he's like, Pop, all right, we're 120 yards out. Where are you trying to hit it? I'm like, I don't know. Fucking hit the flag. He's like, no, look at the slope of the green. He's just a beast, dude. So that was really cool to see. Glad you missed it, but you're with your bad form tweaking your back. So that's good, but it's all in the name of the slug at the end of the day. My arm's a little sore too. Not.
Oh, how's your finger? Haven't heard much about it.
You know what's crazy? I played my double header with my hurt finger. I couldn't really move it, and something about just getting the blood going immediately fixed it.
Oh, I don't know. Crazy. Yeah, I don't know the physiology there.
Me neither. I will tell you, I still think I broke my elbow at some point because I can feel like pieces move around, and it really hurt. It's like a constant funny bone, but I don't have proper insurance. So
yeah,
what that?
Well, that's kind of how I feel about my back right now. So I lied a little bit. It wasn't a lie, but I kinked it actually 2 months ago, and then just golf made it worse. But it's just been 2 months of kinkage, and I know that's not what this episode's about.
2 months of kinkage.
2 months
could be. Get beaten on. Easy. I did talk to our other friend, Noah. What the fuck's his last name? Noah from
Edelman. Is that
Edelman.
3 Noah pods in a row? You've mentioned him every day. It's like you talk to one person.
But he was talking about how his back was hurt. That's why he stopped playing tennis. Oh, you're supposed to slug, by the way, you two, in tennis. But he stopped playing tennis because his back was hurt. And then he read a book 2 weeks ago that's basically kind of like, what's that book that Thiener was reading about, like, quit bitching and like trauma's not real.
The courage to be disliked.
It kind of had that vibe.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's basically the book. I can pull it up. It's basically that back pain is a mental disorder.
Yeah,
I believe it's a pretty famous book. Healing Back Pain, I think it's called. Because I've also read bits and pieces of it.
Right, and it's basically like quit being a bitch and just keep doing what you do. Which
it's healing back pain, the mind-body connection. Without drugs, without surgery, without exercise, back pain can be stopped forever.
Yeah, look at that.
No, I believe it.
He was doing that.
I certainly believe aspects of it are mental. What happens? Wow. So this is the episode. 2 months of kinkage. Basically, what happens with back pain, at least with me, is I will tweak a muscle near my spine, and that sends a signal to your brain, which is basically, you know how I get those back spasms. Your brain is basically saying, like, I want you to be immobile, and it just seizes everything up. And so there has to be some mind-body connection there. I think what you're supposed to do is actually, when that's happening, go out and try and use that muscle lightly, but as much as possible to show your brain, like, I do not need to be
Right.
locked up.
Right.
So
that's good. One quote that I live by is you're only old if you think you're old. The minute you start talking about body problems, the whole mind body starts degrading.
yeah, no, it's a mind
Seizes
body
right
for
up on you.
sure. Roll the clip of your
That's
dad
why.
barrel rolling down a sand dune.
Yeah, dude, that guy. He's 65, but fucking 20 at heart. It's a beautiful thing. So, hey, did I have any other threads that are not the thread that we want to talk about? Maybe, kinda. Been on a hot streak playing tennis and seeing attractive tennis girls. So that's cool.
There he
Been
is.
inviting them
Yep.
to play.
Oh,
I'll
yes.
tell you what.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Just like having an activity that doesn't require, like, it's just very nice to just invite. So it's kind of like having a party and inviting someone to a party. It's like, hey, playing tennis if you want to play tennis. It's like, yeah, I like tennis. Are you good at tennis? Yeah. All right, let's play. This is just like it's nice. So that's been good. And I wanted to talk about Tim Ferriss a little bit too, just so I'm not on my own.
Well, yeah, the Tim Ferriss, and I only have one thread. Sorry. Whoa, cack. I only have one thread written down. I should probably get out of the way with a cack like that. Yeah. But let's talk about Tim Ferriss for a second, which is
you're just gonna
Tim Ferriss is doing the same thing you're doing. Except he's 47.
He's 20. He's 20 years
old. But I was just listening to an episode.
20 years is really good crazy, dude. If I'm in the same spot in 20 years, you absolutely have to kill me.
I'm worried you might be, because you think the same and think similarly. He basically did this long sponsored ad read on his podcast with The League dating app, which is you have to, I don't know, have gone to certain universities to get on The League, and
super expensive.
Oh, it's really expensive.
Yeah, wait list to get on.
Oh, basically, he's got two things he's looking for. It's like you are educated, so you are on The League, and you ski or snowboard. Yeah, and good. In this long ad, because it's a proxy. He says skiing and snowboarding is a proxy for like 20 other things he's looking for. Which, okay, Tim, care to go on about those 20 proxy items?
I'm rich, grew up rich.
And in this long ad read, it's not just an ad read for The League. It's also like a matchmaking thing for Tim, where if you use the hashtag #DateTim, you will like get bumped up. You will immediately go to like a matchmaker at The League who will screen your account, screen your profile, and send it to Tim if it's what he's looking for. And I just heard that, and I'm like, this is not it. It sounds really sad and desperate. And this is a guy who could, in theory, have it all. Right. But he cannot, for the life of him, figure out how to settle down with somebody. Oh, and then so my thread was just Yanni Egghead.
Oh, dude.
Sorry,
dude.
Just gotta make sure that's in focus for the SLR there on YouTube.
No, you still got it up? I was blocking, so I wouldn't have to see it, but it's still up when I unblocked. Yeah. They see it, dude. They for sure see it, dude. That's a good smile too.
Tim.
Dude. The picture I have of myself in my head is sometimes, dude.
What's the picture you got of yourself?
Well, I just think I'm really attractive, and then I see a Yanni Egghead, and I'm like, who's that guy, dude? I don't know that guy.
And then on another podcast, Tim basically said, he was like, I've now kind of learned what?
Let me so for context, you were watching that podcast, you told me about it, I listened to him, like, oh, that's super funny. He's got his little hashtag, and then they filter people. Awesome. And I'm like, okay, maybe he's like openly discussing this a little bit more. And, I'm Mr. like, that's interesting that Tim defaults to this. Like, is he talking about it some more? So I went and I found another podcast he did recently.
Dude, it's all he's talking about.
Like a year ago.
On every episode, he's talking about trying to figure out how to have a family. And later on this podcast, he's like, I'm 47. I just realized I cannot mathematically meet my grandchildren. That's really sad.
It's fucking crazy.
All right, 60
I
years
guess
on
add
average.
40. Add 40 minimum. If it's 20.
Minimum.
But he's gonna have, you
60
need
is
like
like
some
2
foreplay
generations.
before you have
Yeah.
yeah, so it's not looking good. But yeah, so I looked up another podcast, and there's actually, I don't know if you remember the dinner that I talked about where I was like, yo, I don't think women should work. You remember that one? Women shouldn't be in the workforce. That was a mistake. Remember that
Yeah, that was your hot take at
talking
this.
point? Yeah. So one of the women there at that dinner that was shocked, she was sitting right
Oh,
next to me, shocked at
yeah.
this. That was her podcast with Tim. Like, this is just like Erica.com. That's her thing.
Oh.
Um, so I just laughed. I'm like, oh, that's Erica. Like, okay, let me listen to this pod. And I think because it's like an attractive girl, he probably opened up more about dating stuff because he talked about it for like 15, 20 minutes. But in it, he's basically like, I don't know at what point he realized this. Maybe he was like, she was dating someone and thought it was serious, but they didn't want kids or something. And so it like dissolved. Um, but he's like, dude, I'm 47 and it's like, my number one priority now is family. That's all I care about. Because, quote, you can only play Monopoly so many times. It's like, as in, like, he'd been focusing on business and, like, I could do more podcasts, but, like, what the fuck's the point of that? Like, kind of like how I felt with shorts. It's like, oh, we'll crack the code. Like, I can want to keep doing this forever. Like, so yeah, it's just like, he was also talking about later on in the episode. I don't want to go off the dating thing yet, but like he was asking Erica, like Erica wants to make like $100 million. It was interesting. He was kind of dissecting that. He's like, oh well, why that? It's like, well, I don't know. I used to make six figures, and then like 100 million is like a cool number. And like Tim's like, yeah, well, I've seen people go from six figures to a million to 10 million to 100 million to a billion. And like what's kind of funny is people will say like, up until 100 million, like everything makes sense. It's like, okay, more money is cool. Once you get to 100 million, like making another 100 million is just like, what the fuck's the point? So they change at that point at 100 million, they change to percentages. So now they're like, oh, what's my internal rate of return, or what's my rate of return on the 100 million I have? And now they're talking about like 8% versus 10%.
That's
And it's
insane.
just like, now it's a different game. That's like, because it just seems so silly to make an extra 100 million if you already got one. So like, you can't spend all that if you wanted to. But yeah, so he won the money game. He's probably worth honestly like $500 million or more because he got
Tim?
in early. Yeah, he was early at Coinbase. Early
Uber?
at, was it Uber? Probably
Duolingo,
another
I
one.
think.
Yeah, because he was just like the guy. Like everyone in Silicon Valley just idolized him.
You
So he
think
just got
he's
in
got
super
half a
early.
billion? And then
Yeah,
listen to him now. It's like 47, no partner, no
right.
kids, and that's all he wants.
And
And money can't buy that.
literally couldn't. Like he would give up all his money just to be in our place right now with like 20 years of opportunity to make family.
That's
And it's literally
crazy.
the purpose of life. But what was funny is during the episode, like they're talking about what he wants, and he's like, "Yeah, it's going to be like 28 to 33," and he's 47. Keep that in mind, so at least like 15 years younger. Um, and then whatever, loves skiing and like is kind of wealthy on her own. There's like some other little things,
Oh yeah,
but
has like had some accomplishment of her own.
right, right. So she's not totally reliant, and like also some prenup stuff, but like at the end of this, going through sort of his like filters or his criteria, he's like kind of in a joking way. She's like, "Oh, that's so funny. Like, where do they apply?" He's like, "Oh yeah, just tim.blog/partner." And she's like, "Ah, that's funny. Like, imagine if you had a URL." And I'm like, I wonder if this fucker actually like made this URL. So I go to it, and it just links me through to his Google Doc. And it's like, you found my super secret Tim's dating
Dude, and
wife
it's
page.
you. It's like, do you ski or snowboard? Yes or no? If not, what sports do you play? How many
It's a
days per week do
proxy,
you
dude.
play said sport? It's like I'll
Yeah.
pull it up. It's just not it. Tin.blog/partner. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
fucking pull it up.
We'll see what happens. I guess.
Uh,
It's
well, he
your
makes the
location:
point
New
of
York
like,
City, Austin. Do you ski or snowboard? Check all that apply. Ski touring, snowboard, no. If you ski or snowboard, roughly how many days have you skied or snowboarded in the last 2 years? And what's your level of ability? Next question? What sports have you played in the past, and what sports or physical activities do you currently take seriously? Age. Do you have kids? Do you want kids? If yes, how many? It's like the proxy for 20 other things. It's actually a proxy for 2 because he's interested in skiing and snowboarding right now, and he's trying to have kids.
Gotta ask him. Well, what's interesting, one, Tim is like, the irony of all this, which he recognized, and I recognize it too. I'm not like fucking dumb, but like the harder you try, the harder it is. It's kind of like the fucking Chinese finger thing. Fucking
the more you pull, the harder it is to get your fingers out. Same thing with happiness. He says it's like the people who sit around all day and think about how to be happy or are trying to optimize for happiness are the least happy people.
Right.
You have to stop trying, basically.
Which is, I feel like I've seen, like, so Tim, one of Tim's good friends is the author who wrote the game.
And to be clear, this is the Smart Nonsense SAT episode. To be clear.
Fuck, dude. My bad. I didn't know we'd get kinked up
we
and
could
then
talk
go
about
into
Neil Strauss.
Neil Strauss, that's the dude. Well, he was like friends with him, and I saw like an old episode of the Tim Ferriss show, Ferriss Experiment, something.
Yeah.
And it was like him trying to pick up chicks doing day game, which is like the thing that I went to. Like, basically Tim very much feels like me, and that was like an episode like 10, 15 years ago. I'm like, oh, okay. He hasn't figured it out, but he's always been like about it.
And neither is Neil Strauss,
on this, like,
right?
other channel. Oh, they both, Neil might have gone before. Yeah, I don't know. There's this other channel, Simple Pickup, which is like a YouTube thing.
Either something didn't pan out for Neil Strauss, or he denounces the game now. He basically says like picking up people on the street is not the way. It was something like that. I forget.
At the tennis court though, different fucking yeah. So yeah. Tim was on like Simple Pickup, another thing along with the Neil Strauss thing. He's basically like been around all these like game people, like dark arts fucking thing that I was in. And so it's funny. He's just been like serious about it. I remember like in his health book, he'd talk about like buying this Japanese sex pillow. He's just been like a little fucking secretly sexual dude for a while. It's just interesting, dude. But they don't open up as much as we do on the Smart Nonsense podcast.
Oh.
You get a lot more tea than Tim. I got to go snooping deep and find these secret pages to find that.
So,
you want to talk about
Smart
Tamagotchi? What are we at? 16?
18.
Yeah, it's always time, dude. 18?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, fucking don't have 2010.
You don't want to give away like the big moves and secrets too early in a podcast. Like, we weeded everyone out by this point. And so you stick around, you stick with us to this point, and you get the real sauce, the real important stuff.
Where do we start? Well, yesterday we filled everyone in. If you haven't listened to that, it's got more context. It was like 40 minutes of context. All about like, okay, we're doing this SAT company. We can make a really good video course, but it's not going to be unique. Like, it's just going to be a better video course, which isn't something worth our time. Like, if we're going to do something, we want to make it special. This is one of like the Naval things that we live by. It's like escape competition through authenticity. And also like Peter Thiel, competition is for losers. Basically like fucking whatever.
Be so good.
Everyone else is going to make a video
can't
course.
Ignore you.
Yeah. Pick your quote. The idea is just like, fuck the herd, the sheep, everyone. Let them compete. They're going to all like try and buy better editors and like organize their videos differently. But like fundamentally, they're all offering the same product. What is the completely different product that is in our wheelhouse that we can do and no one can ever compete with us on? So that's what we've been kicking around after a couple realizations. And I guess coming into the call today, it was like our first check-in call after we both kind of independently realized like, this is fine. Like, let's make a really good video course, but like, let's start thinking about what that unlock is. If we can't figure it out, then like fuck it, maybe we should just like not do SAT, work on something else. But hopefully we
But
can.
you remember my vision from yesterday that you said was so good? There is no like not
Uh,
doing SAT because SAT it's the actual education arm of
right.
smart
That would
nonsense.
mean
It's
not doing
SAT,
education.
right? Pretty much. It's
Yeah.
SAT. It's then the APs and the ACT and the GMAT, and then textbooks and book. I mean, all the way down.
Right. Wow. I'm thinking about like our idea and how it can connect to like all of these.
Here's your
How you'll just
stage.
like okay. So well it wasn't even like it was probably Jack's idea, if anyone.
No, so
But we were
that
talking.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that because we basically had a brass tacks. It's our 1 hour check-in of the week. We do a bunch of work all week, 1 hour check-in. It was just kind of like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes of piddling around. And I feel like you need that piddle paddle time before. Yeah, like Jack then had an insight in minute 56, which connected everything else you had been talking about, which then spirals into to the.
Yeah. Do you remember what he said?
Well, I can try and think, but let me finish my point, which is basically like
Okay.
we
So
used to be very anti-call, and
yeah.
we also have gripes with boring calls or like, should I even be on this? Why are we having this call? And I guess what that affirmed for me is like you oftentimes can't predict what is going to come out. It's like serendipity. It was like in minute 59, the unlocked.
Yeah. Right.
Brass tacks up until that point. So like, how do you predict that?
So well, let me just give some context where we're at before
Sure.
maybe you know the Jack thing or not. But uh brought up all like, okay, we got to differentiate, create something totally unique. What is that? Our big thing is like the best way to study is probably just take as many problems as possible, like do a fuckload of problems, or just watch us doing a ton of problems. Like however you get like 100 practice exams in your head, that's the best way to study. So I'm like, maybe we create a story and it's this weird like fucking Harvard on a Hill thing, and then there's like trigonometry control, which I've been pushing really hard. And it's just like maybe there's something there, but like it's definitely half baked. And then I don't know at what point Jack said something that triggers
Something
something.
like, so you're talking about this story arc of the
Oh,
trigonometry troll and Dird
yeah.
getting into Harvard. And we start talking about like, I don't know,
We
you
should just
have
by
to.
default record all calls
Yeah,
ever.
right. You have to feed Dird or save Dird, and you're doing that
Oh
by
yeah,
kind of like
Dird
getting
gets
problems right.
tortured. I
Yeah.
remember, I remember Dird. Yeah, for some
Basically,
reason,
it was
maybe
like,
it came from the troll or something.
what if every time you get a problem wrong? Oh, Dird is like being held hostage somewhere. Oh no. So we were
Right.
talking about, Jack brought up Mario, and basically when you're playing
Oh
Mario,
yeah.
Princess Peach gets captured by Bowser, and then everything becomes plotline after that is in pursuit of freeing Peach from Bowser. What if similar story arc here where Dird is captured or being held hostage, and like every time you get a question wrong, we cut to Dird just being like tortured in a absurd way,
Right.
and that started to unlock the build.
Yeah, and something about that. Then I was like, oh, that like Dird being like the main character who gets like abused. It's kind of like this Kenny South Park character or whatever. But it also reminded me of like Tamagotchi, where it's like you want to like care for this creature and like you checking in every day, like make sure it's well fed and kept. And I don't know, I never had one, but like you just it's like your baby, right? So you want to check in all the time. It's like, okay, that's an interesting element if like somehow through doing well on SAT problems, you are taking care of your Tamagotchi Dird. And if you do poorly, then we're gonna torture the fuck out of them in the funniest way possible. And have these little like you brought up the animations from Among Us.
Among
It's like
Us, the game, when you get killed by the murderer in Among Us, there's just like some ridiculously absurd. Oh, ridiculously absurd.
nice.
Redundant. There's some absurd animation for how you die. Like the murderer comes out with a machete and slices your guy's head off, and
Right.
there's just like a bone sticking up. or they pull out
COD
like a
has this
huge
too.
Glock and like just pops you in the face, and same kind of thing.
Really
COD has that.
sick. Yeah, there's like I haven't played COD in a while, or else you'd
Oh,
never
if you
see me
get
again.
meleeed.
Yeah, it's like some special button thing, and there's like a whole like cutscene action where it'll like come up and like kill you in
Time
the cool
slows
like
down. Yeah.
yeah, it's fucking sick. It's like, oh, maybe we had there's like something there. Um, but it's really this like I think the problem we're trying to solve is like how do you like want to do 100 problems a day? And it's like, okay, you don't want to, like that's the medicine, but what if like the like sugar is okay, say you're with all your friends at school, everyone's got their little Tamagotchi dirt, and now like okay 10 problems come up today, and like if you don't get them right, fucking Dirt's gonna get his arm hacked off, and if you do he's gonna get like a really cool cape, and now for the rest of time he has the cape, um or however it might work,
Yeah. Yeah, it was like I think it was accidentally stumbling upon a gamification.
which has always felt like I felt like we needed to gamify. Like we're kind of like taking our video hammer and we're just like video is all we know and we got to do it. But like in the back of my head, I'm like, this needs a gamification. Like it's got to be fun, and it should be fun. Like people love. We talked about it yesterday, but like literally taking the phone out of our hands to like look at the short and like solve the problems. It's like people love doing that. It's really fun. So imagine now it's like fucking you get that same feeling, but it's like building your character, and there's like easy problems, medium, hard, or whatever. You get like extra bonus points for each. And now like you just got to keep Dirt alive for the next 100 days till your SAT exam or whatever it
Well,
is.
right, and on accident, you're boosting your SAT score by 300 points.
Right.
Is basically
So
what's
instead
happening.
of literally being tortured, like our buddy Alan, who just had to sit in his Korean classroom all day until he got a perfect score, he wouldn't be let out. Like this is just the fun version of that. And it's one of those things that can just go super viral if done right. Where like everyone's a junior in high school, all in the same classes, all have this shitty exam coming up. It's like, dude, you're not studying with Dirt? What are you doing? And you see all
Yeah,
your
right.
friends like they're under the desk, like trying to get today's problems right so that they can level up Dirt. Or like, this is one of the topics we're talking about of like, we could even make it free. Like everyone can get Dirt, but it's kind of just like the in-app purchases, like a Fortnite or something where you can buy skins or you can buy like 2x points for today or like whatever power-ups you might get. And you like sort of Clash of Clans, like battle other Dirts. So if your buddy has one, maybe it's like a Pokemon thing where you just like fucking throw them a hard problem or something. Like there's some way to like duel and like the winner can like take some loot from the other
Duel
person.
over a problem.
Yeah. Or yeah, that would actually be funny. It's like you're gonna challenge somebody. There's 10 problems, and whoever like the faster you finish each problem, you get more points. Yeah, dude. Fuck, dude. Imagine we line up. I'm like, dude, I like that cape. I want it. I'm gonna challenge you to a duel for that cape, and whatever.
Yeah.
If I lose, you take my arm.
It's interesting, and it will be interesting to take pieces from all of these. Well, it's kind of like our viral formula of finding things that already work in like other games. So we
Right.
have like there's a Khan Academy component here,
Right.
then
So we didn't mention
Tamagotchi.
that. But if you get problems wrong or whatever, you'll get like us in a funny way explaining, or maybe Dirt explaining, probably should be Dirt explaining how problems work, like trigonometry, if you get it wrong. But sorry, go through
Oh,
your list.
like potential blueprints. You've got Khan Academy, Tamagotchi, Fortnite, which is all the in-app stuff, licensing. They do that really well, and like Among Us, which is
Yeah.
just a really nice, simple game where you're just kind of like running around.
Yeah. Clash of
Actually,
Clans,
that's
Farmville.
interesting. Clash of
Also
Clans,
that like what's the one where you just like fight people? It's like fight.
Street
It's
Fighter.
like super Street Fighter. It's probably like
Never played that.
we me neither really. But there are all these like super simple games. Like the bar is so low here because it's literally like, do I want to do Tamagotchi Dirt, which is fucking hilarious and all my friends are playing it, or do I want to go and watch Khan Academy
Princeton
videos?
review.
It's just I'm gonna buy this you got this thick textbook, and I just got my little phone with Tamagotchi Dirt, and he's got no arms because I suck at math. It's like I'm trying to fucking grow his arms back here.
Hangman is part of the blueprint, right? Every time you get a letter wrong, you get something wrong. This poor Dirt thing loses a extremity.
And there's something too where like, because it's like this very segment, it's just like our whole audience is in the same classroom, and like it can just go super viral there. And also like if you just have this thing, it's like, oh, sign up your friend and you get Dirt's gonna have a crown, or he's gonna get like a fucking Glock. It's like, dude, let me, and we don't have to adhere to anything. Like we can, it's like 16-year-olds, so like it can be fucking the funniest, craziest humor we want. We don't have to like make it PC because it's like the SAT. So like we can assume they've played GTA or something before. Get pretty raunchy with it. So it's just like the hard part, like doing the app and stuff, like yeah, it might be like I don't know, like the hard difficult. It's like doable. It's like hard but doable. It's just like the hard part was like figuring out like what is the unlock, and we're still not there. It's half baked, but it's like there's something here that is it, and then actually executing on that and building an app. Like Jack's like, yeah, I know like 100 engineers that would love to make Tamagotchi Dirt, like the coolest SAT thing ever. And then just the vision's so cool because when you do something that's truly unique, it's not like we're trying to get an engineer to come work on like the next like Khan Academy with better video. It's like, no, this is fucking gonna make a video game out of the SAT. How fucking sick is that?
Yeah.
Oh, Wordle. I didn't mention that. Gardeloo! I took a Gardeloo.
Oh, Wordle. I didn't mention that.
Just a really quick appendage on this. Just gonna slap on. You were saying this.
I was saying. Well, so we logged off, and you immediately said a lot to chew on, and I said maybe a way to think about this is kind of going into our Duolingo arm / like Exploding Kittens arm, which are games, right. And then Exploding Kittens became a Netflix show later. You know, it's like I think this might be kind of our. That's it, and then you hit record, and here we are.
Well, okay. Well, what I like, I mentioned this a little bit in text, but it's like this. It's not just like the SAT. It's like, okay, I have Dirt Tamagotchi. It's like this is now a framework, a format to apply to anything you ever do, and you mentioned that already. But like, literally, like, take flashcards, and it's like flashcards. You want to get through fucking 100 of them a day. Okay, now it's flashcards applied in this super fun way to your Dirt because you're going to med school, and now everything that you earn, like. You're gonna get fucking stirrups are for horses. You're gonna get, what's the thing that goes around your neck, and you're gonna get like a fucking doctory stuff. You're gonna get like a hand saw.
Stirrups is also what I think women put their feet on to spread their legs.
That's what I wanted. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
Oh, that's what you wanted? But you said around your neck.
It's not really
around your neck.
No, I wanted the thing.
Oh, try again.
Stegosaurus. Stethoscope.
Yeah.
Like you can earn like stuff that applies to the medical field, like SAT. Maybe your thing becomes Einstein over time, and then but you'll like fucking you see other Tamagotchi Dirts, but they like
like I don't know the segmentation yet, but like I guess at the limit there will be a portion of the game for everyone, right? There'll be first grade math, there will be third grade reading, there will be learning Romeo and Juliet. The plot of Romeo and Juliet. Like, I don't know how that segmentation will work, but this will be a method for learning anything, right?
Dude, imagine you're taking like medical exams and you're just like, let me just see if I can beat up this fucking second grader in some math. Or like, you just like challenge little kids or something. Or like Jack, like wanting to take the SAT, he can like go and like just randomly battle someone taking the SAT and see if he can like get their Einstein hair. Hold on, I had something else. Maybe I didn't.
I guess, yeah. So I guess I imagine it as like the Smart Nonsense app is like the place to go to play whatever this game is to learn anything ever.
Yeah, I think kind of the point, like the cartoon, like we might not even need to make the cartoon because like Duolingo is not making cartoons like that. That's like a totally separate thing. Maybe there's some IP and like that, like someone can go off and make that. But like, I think the potential of this Tamagotchi, Clash of Clans, whatever, Mario Kart thing, whatever this world is, like that can apply to so many different areas of learning that like it's just infinite stuff to build out.
There's a lot there. The cartoon would be fun for a different reason. Like,
Well,
we're not going to get to really flesh out like a storyline and like gags and like,
but you
they're
could.
just different. You could.
You don't
They're
know.
just
Like
different. And then getting to do a
maybe I got to
movie,
play
I
more
think would be a
phone
lot of
games.
fun.
I think it would be, but this would be like 5 years or whatever, a couple of years, super fun. Then Jack can take it over, and then we go to the next thing. But like,
Yeah.
there's so much potential. Yeah. How do you build story? I think it's just like fucking. Isn't Pokemon like when you play? It's like it seems super simple. Like the graphics are super simple, but like you'll just go and you like encounter a person and you like battle them, and then like you use your Pokemon, and then you like move on. Like somehow they have story in there in that. So we just have to like borrow from all these games.
Actually, yeah, I think Pokemon Story comes from, I think the show came first, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or the card game, and then all the cards kind of have a built in story. Or maybe it was a comic book. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if we could potentially tie in like our cartoon ideas of like different characters. I do like how simple it is, just like everyone has a dirt. But like they could battle things that are these hybrids and it connects to the cartoon. It's just like world building, just in this application of world building.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Bring back Pop. Pop the panda monkey panda gorilla.
Yeah. Huh, nice.
Gardealoo!
I keep beating you to the guards today.
All right, now I'm really out.